Hey everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family. I'm getting ready to start dinner. Tonight we're going to have hamburger steaks with onions and brown gravy. I have some potatoes that I have already cut up and they're on the stove getting ready to boil. So we're going to make mashed potatoes out of those. What goes better when you have gravy than mashed potatoes, right? So in my bowl here, I have got just over a pound of ground chuck. It's like 1.3 pounds. So I'm going to add 1 egg to that. Remember, you don't crack your eggs over your bowl. And we're going to add a little paprika. Now, I'm not making meatloaf, so I'm not going to flour it up and, you know, stuff like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. Now, I'm not measuring, I'm just sprinkling, so you put what you want. And I'm going to add some onion powder. We're having onions with it, but we still want some flavor. Now, that might be about a half a teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder, and a little less than that of paprika. But I want some salt and pepper in it because we want it to taste good, right? There we go. There's some salt. It's not much. And some pepper. Black pepper just to make it taste better. We are getting ready to start our weekend. And I had some garlic cloves. Here we are. We're just happy to, we're having a long weekend. And I'm glad Pop got off of work so we can spend some good time together. Now, lay your garlic clove on your board. You might know this. Put your knife flat, carefully, smash it. And that's going to let you take those peels off. Oh, that one had another peeling under it. I guess I didn't peel it good the first time, huh? Let's try that again. There we go. Now that peeling will come off so easy. It'll smash garlic up, but that's okay. Or you can use the minced garlic like I use a lot in the jar. We like it. It's convenient. That's what I like about it the most. Now, that little root end, I'm going to cut it off because I don't want that in there. Now, this is a fairly large clove of garlic. Got some garlic skin on my knife. So I want to cut the end off. And I'm going to run my knife through this and mince it up. I had a little kitchen accident, so I had to stop there. So I'm going to put on some gloves. It's just barely a nick, but I don't want to take any chances. So I had to stop, wash it, and wash my knife real good. Okay, so we've got our garlic in. That was a large clove. So that was plenty of garlic. Can you see? You see that garlic in there? Okay, so I've got my pan getting hot here. I've got it set for 350. And I'm just going to mix this all together. And I want to make some nice, beautiful hamburger steaks out of this. When we were little, my mother would buy, there were 7 of us in the family. 5 kids, mom and dad. And she could make the food stretch, and we always had a belly full, and we had good meals. And she could take a pound of meat like this and feed 7 people. I don't know how she did it. I had to try to think just feeding 4 and now just 2. But she would take this meat and she'd make us hamburger steaks. Yeah, they wouldn't be any bigger than a hamburger. But to us, when you add the steak on the name, into the name of it, we thought we had this huge steak in front of us. We always had gravy and onions with it. And it was so good. Okay, so I got that mixed up really well. Now I am going to divide this up. I'm not going to make them hamburger size, but I'm not going to make them cut that in half. That's too much for us. So, looky there. Isn't that a gorgeous piece? Now, press it down in the center. And what that will do, supposed to do, is keep it flat when it cooks. See that? That's what you want, because you know your pan's hot. So I mixed it well, but I did not pack this meat. And I'm just kind of lightly bringing this together. Y'all see, I'm not smashing and rolling. And I'm gonna make one a little bit smaller for me. Again, push it down in the middle. There we go. I'm gonna get 3 small steaks out of this. I'm going to take these gloves off and I'll get me some clean ones. And I'm going to discard that because we don't need it anymore. I don't need that clove of garlic. So I'm gonna clean this up. Y'all give me just a second while they clean this up, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna chop up some parsley. Okay, so I got all that cleaned up, and I've got me a fresh glove. So I am going to, isn't that some beautiful parsley? Now this comes straight out of my garden, and it is still growing. Okay, so I've got my parsley chopped up, and that's going to give it a nice, fresh flavor when we get these hamburger steaks done. Let me rinse this off. So while we're here, get my knife again. Let's cut our onion up. We're going to need to add it to that pan here in just a little bit. So you see, I cut the ends off. Y'all have seen me do this a bunch of times, and I cut it in half, and then just remove that outer layer. I normally use white onions, but I got the yellow this time. They were pretty, and the white ones just didn't look good at the store. Is it because of the time of year it is? Now, get all that onion peeling up. Let's check our burgers. Oh, yes. Can you see in there? You see the crust that is forming on these hamburger steaks. And I'm going to press them just a little bit because I don't want them so thick. There we go. All right, so let's cut our onions. Now I am going to lay it down like that, and I'm going to cut it this way. I'm going to cut it in like half moon shapes. I don't want them too thin, but I don't want them too thick either. And see about how thick I'm making them? Can you tell with my white glove? So I'm going to scoot that aside and cut this up. And the onion, seems like a lot of onion, doesn't it? But, you know, onions kind of cook down, don't they? All right, let's check our potatoes while we've got a minute with that. They are almost done. Now, what I was doing is you want your potatoes to be fork tender. I used a knife, but you want them to go in. So I'm going to pull my stuff together so I can mash up my potatoes. I'm going to let this cook a couple of more minutes. Then I'm going to throw these onions in, and we're going to come back. Okay, we're back. Now, I've drained my potatoes, and I've told y'all numerous times when I drain them, I put them back in the hot pot, and that kind of dries out that extra water. So you don't want them watery. The liquid we want in there is the good stuff. Today I'm using some half and half and some sour cream. Yeah, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I was going to get some buttermilk. Well, it expired here in just like 3 or 4 days. I wasn't going to buy it. I couldn't use that much that quickly. So I've got my whisk attachment. So let me whisk this up. Okay, so I've got that all whipped up, and I'm going to put some half and half. I just did 2 potatoes for Papa and I, and there will be potatoes left over. And you know what I do with them. He loves it. Good old potato patties. I guess it's a southern thing, isn't it? Let's give it a try. I want to check for my seasonings, make sure I've got enough salt in it. Nope. I'm going to add a little bit more. That was not even a 1/4 teaspoon. Kind of stir that all together. I don't want to overdo it with the salt because we can always add it at the table. I'm sure that's going to be just fine. We'll get rid of that. I love mashed potatoes. Let's try them anyway. That was the perfect amount. I just needed that little bit of extra. So let's move this out of our way. And I'm going to cover these potatoes to keep them warm. And I'm going to set them back here on the stove. And I've got some bread, some artisan bread, that I'm going to go ahead and bring up here, because we'll use that. Now, our hamburger, can you see how pretty that is and the color it's getting on it? You see, making that well in the center, like I did, that indentation, kept these from puffing up and rounding up. So let's go ahead and add our onions. So these can be cooking while our hamburger steak's finished. They're almost done, y'all. So give me a second and let me finish those up. I'm going to get these onions softened up just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to put some salt on the onions. That's it. That's all I'm putting. And some pepper. And that'll kind of help them soften up too. So I'm going to clean this up, clean my board, and I'm going to let these onions cook around, and I'm going to be back. We're going to soon pull this all together. We're about to make some gravy, and we're going to be done. Okay, our onions are starting to soften up. They're getting translucent. So they're going to continue cooking. But right now, I want to add some flour. You know, you're supposed to add equal parts fat and equal parts flour. So I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons. And that was a heap. And I might need to add some more. We'll see. I'm on a different kind of spatula. I'm going to use this because I want to be able to get in the bottom of this pan. Can you see down in there? Yes. This meat did not have a whole lot of fat, y'all. It was enough to cook our onions, and I think it might be enough to make our gravy. We'll see. We can add more if we want to. Y'all know I love my brown gravy mix when I'm making brown gravy. You can use just this, but why? When you can do it like this. And I added a couple of tablespoons. I stir that around, and it's going to get real thick and dry. That's what you want. It's absorbing all that liquid. But But you need to cook it, stir it around a minute or two because you want to get that raw flour taste out. And we're just kind of toasting up all those flavors from that brown gravy mix that's been sitting in that carton. We want to wake it up. Tell it good afternoon. Let's enjoy some gravy. There we go. I'm going to add, I do this, balsamic vinegar. Just a touch. That was probably about 1/4 teaspoon. It wakes up all those flavors, y'all. It just does something to it. I can't explain it. Now, we've got some beef broth that we're going to stir in. This is low sodium, 50% less sodium, so that gives us a little leeway with our seasonings. And it's starting to get thick already, and those onions are cooking. Now, if you want, I don't have any, and I'm not a big fan of it, some green bell pepper. And I've had it, and I do like it with hamburger steaks. Cook that onion and pepper together and then put it on top of your steaks. Now what we're going to do, we're going to slip our steaks back into this pan because I want them to have all that gravy goodness on them. Let's see. I think we need to test the gravy. What do you think? We need to make sure our seasonings are right. I think we need a little more broth though. It's getting thick. At this point, I want to turn my heat down because I just want it on a simmer. And just keep adding liquid until you're satisfied with the consistency. I don't want it thick, but I don't, pasty thick. I've seen people make gravy and it be like a paste. That's not how we make gravy here. And as it sits, as it cools off, if you've got it sitting out, if it gets too thick, just add a little more liquid to it. So let's try it. Oh, that's so good. I get that little taste of that vinegar, but it is not a whoa, knock you back taste. It just is enhancing all of this brown gravy mix that we put in here. I want to put a little more pepper in it though. I think it has enough salt. There we go. And I think that's going to do it, y'all. I don't know if you can tell the consistency. I have that. Now, let's slip this hamburger steak back in there. We're just going to lay it right there on the top. I'm not going to stir it in. And I'm going to turn this down as low as it'll go without turning it off, okay? And I'm going to let it sit here. I'm going to cover it up. And if I need to come back and add some liquid to it, I will. But Pop Jones will be home in just a little bit. So I want to get him fed. All right, y'all stay with me. And when I come back, I'm going to show you how I serve this up, okay? All right, we have let this simmer for a few minutes. This looks so amazing. Y'all know I couldn't resist. You see this right here? I had to put a little pat of butter in it. Y'all know me and the butter. Hey, Pop, I'm finishing up our dinner.
I didn't know you were filming.
I've got some hamburger steaks and mashed potatoes.
Yum, yum.
And I'm about to show them how we're going to serve this up. So y'all know I had to add some butter to that gravy. So what I'm going to do is I've got you see I've got the little deep dish. And I am going to take a slice of bread, put it right there on the side. This is the artisan style bread. Now, we like that. You can butter it or not. I need a spoon for some potatoes. How about that? And I'm going to put, a nice helping of mashed potatoes. And y'all, I couldn't help it. I had to try them. You know I did. And I'm going to take one of these hamburger steaks and I'm going to prop it right there. Look at that. And I'm going to put some of this gravy and onions right over that. Now, does that not look like a meal fit for my king?
Doesn't it? Ooh, and my queen.
How about that?
That looks great.
Yeah, you ready to eat?
Yes.
Oh, but wait. I picked some parsley out straight out of our garden.
Did you?
Let's garnish it a little bit. Now,
looks good.
Looky there. That is a full meal right there. I don't think we need anything else, do you?
Oh no, that's more than enough.
Let's try this. We're just going to make one plate at the moment. We're going to try this together. I'll get a little bit of that hamburger steak and a little bit of the mashed potatoes. Dip it in that gravy. I love feeding him. He likes everything I make.
I'm gonna let mine cool off a minute. It's steaming. Looks great though.
You're going to be happy with this meal. Yes. That
Very good.
is, I'm going to call it a man filler. You fill his stomach up
Definitely.
and keep him happy, yeah. So we're going to go and enjoy our dinner, and we hope to see you soon. We're so thankful for each and every one of you, and we enjoy having you in our kitchen each time we're on here. So please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, hit that little notification bell so you know when we post our next video. See you soon, everybody. Bye.